This is also an Iliad ruin with a statue on it. Not at the entrance, but at the ruin site. The Iliads were surely fond of statues. A bear! Quickly, 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 quickly! Don't wait here until it gets us. Ooh. There wasn't that much of a height difference which in the jump, but I guess it's the length of the jump which counts too and adds to your probability of injury. Now that's good, because running so fast, jumping so long, you should be very likely to get hurt if you are not skilled enough in acrobatics. Which I'm not, and I don't want to be. I'm not an acrobat. But I can heal myself. By all means. And I think I know where I left my horse at Skingrad. I just didn't look to that very spot. I think in that one part where I looked for my horse, I turned around just before I reached that actual site where I left the horse. So I will check occasionally whether it is there or not. So let's check where we are. Okay. I know there are some more steel blue Entolomas at Coral. Maybe should just take the road north and get all we can. And in Weynon Priory there are some as well. This must be the Coral Oblivion gate, or where it's supposed to be. And here must be some steel blue Entolomas, yes. Now this is actually Weynon Priory, isn't it?
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. So I guess this must be the road to Coral. Yes. I think there were some more Steel Blue Entolomas. Coral. Yes, here. Okay, I think that's all we can get. Let's go to Imperial City. My only concern about Skyrim, the forthcoming part of chapter of the Elder Scrolls, is that it will be too dark as this Dragon Age or Fallout, or I don't know what other games are that dark. Well, yes, the game crashed, Oblivion crashed, and we haven't been saving or auto-saving for such a long time. And I just had to do the last two Orrery camps again, and the whole way back to Coral again. I just have skipped that in the recording, just not to bore you. I was talking about Skyrim and my well, something that I fear to come is that Skyrim will be too dark, like Fallout or Dragon Ages, or what is this game called? Falagar keeps reminding me of. I don't like dark games. I like when the game is like this, the graphics, something like you can see here. It's daylight and it should be light. I understand that when it's dark you cannot see much. That's okay, I don't mind that. But I do mind when there are over-darkened shadows, shades. And also I don't like the HDR effect, this what is it, this abbreviation HDR, it's high dynamic range or something, where you actually HDR photography is completely different from HDR effect in the games, because HDR photography is where you try to get as much dynamic range of lighting into the photograph as possible, which you would never be able to photograph or see with your human eye. So you have very dark areas which are where you can actually see something, and very light areas which are not overburned in those photographs where you also see something. So the dynamic range of brightness is extremely large, and these photographs are quite interesting to see. But the HDR effect in games usually doesn't simulate high dynamic range in lighting. Rather, it simulates the normal, or it narrows the dynamic range of lighting, where you have over-darkened areas, like underexposed areas, if you are into photography or video making, where you have underexposed areas and overburned areas, because there is like too much light and you see nothing but bright area, light white area where you can't see any details because it's so overburned of light. That that is what the HDR effect does, and I find that quite ridiculous. It does the whole contrary of the HDR photography. I don't like both. I do know that it is unrealistic to have the dynamic range of lighting which the human eye could never perceive, like you can see in HDR photography. Of course, that is not realistic. A human eye could never see that kind of detail in such a high dynamic range of light. But
what is it?
As unrealistic as that is, the other extreme, where the dynamic range narrows down, where you have overdarkened and over bright areas, when you switch on the HDR effects of games, is the other extreme. The human eye would normally perceive some amount of details in those dark areas and in those light areas as well, where the game doesn't show you anything like that. And I will just fast travel hither because I can't navigate well through this Imperial City. So that's my concern. That's what am I concerned about in Skyrim, that it will be too dark and it will want to have this HDR effect, which I deliberately did not switch on for my Oblivion Let's Play.
How can I be of service?
Hello. Yes, you have a nice armor. Now we are at the Arcane University, and we can hand in
hello, associate.
The
Hail.
Orrery items. Of course, after the game crashed, I did fight those bandits from the remaining two camps again, and I naturally did not find this general's shield, which would give me 2% more of reflect damage. I did find items of comparable value which I did loot, but not the shield. That's a pity, but I can live with that. On my way to Coral I have found much more steel blue Entolomas, which is more important and more precious to me than any kind of retribution spell or reflect damage spell. Alright, so Bothiel.
You have them? The items I requested?
I have
Give
them all.
To me, please. Yes, this seems to be everything. Here's your reward. Thank you again.
Thank you too. I'm looking forward to see the Orrery repaired.